Of all the events that led up to World War II, the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party would become the most notorious. In 1919, Army veteran Adolf Hitler, frustrated by Germany's defeat in World War I that had left the nation economically depressed and politically unstable, joined a fledgling political organization called the German Workers' Party. Founded earlier that same year by a small group of men, the party promoted German nationalism and anti-Semitism and felt that the Treaty of Versailles, the peace settlement that ended the First World War, was extremely unjust to Germany by burdening it with reparations it could never pay. Hitler soon emerged as a charismatic public speaker and began attracting new members with speeches blaming Jews and Marxists for Germany's problems and espousing extreme nationalism and the concept of an Aryan master race. In July 1921, he assumed leadership of the organization, which by then had been renamed to the National Socialist German Workers' Party. Throughout the 1920s, Hitler gave speech after speech in which he stated that unemployment, rampant inflation, hunger, and economic stagnation in post-war Germany would continue until there was a total revolution in German life. Most problems could be solved, he explained, if communists and Jews were driven from the nation. His fiery speeches swelled the ranks of the Nazi Party, especially among young, economically disadvantaged Germans. In 1929, Germany entered a period of severe economic depression and widespread unemployment. The Nazis capitalized on the situation by criticizing the ruling government and began to win elections. In the July 1932 elections, they captured 230 out of the 608 seats in the Reichstag, or German parliament. In January 1933, Hitler was appointed German Chancellor, and his Nazi government soon came to control every aspect of German life. On August 23, 1939, shortly before the outbreak of World War II, enemies Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union surprised the world by signing the German-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact, in which the two countries agreed to take no military action against the other for the next 10 years. With Europe on the brink of another major war, Soviet leader Joseph Stalin viewed the pact as a way to keep his nation on peaceful terms with Germany, while giving him time to build up the Soviet military. German Chancellor Adolf Hitler used the pact to make sure Germany was able to invade Poland unopposed. The pact also contained a secret agreement in which the Soviets and the Germans agreed how they would later divide up Eastern Europe. The German-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact fell apart in June 1941 when the Nazi forces invaded the Soviet Union. On September 1, 1939, German forces bombarded Poland on land and from the air as Adolf Hitler sought to regain lost territory and ultimately rule Poland. The German invasion of Poland was a premiere of how Hitler intended to wage war, what would later become his Blitzkrieg strategy. This was characterized by extensive bombing early on to destroy the enemy's air, railroad, and communications, followed by a massive land invasion with overwhelming numbers of troops, tanks, and artillery. Once the German forces had plowed their way through a devastating swath of territory, infantry then picking off any remaining resistance. Once Hitler had a base of operations within the target country, he immediately began setting up security forces to annihilate all enemies of his Nazi ideology, whether racial, religious, or political. All of these events, from the signing of the Treaty of Versailles to the rise of Hitler to the Chancellor of Germany, led to the great conflict we now know as World War II.